Yeah, my dear Pisces, the Earth continues its path, and now we see behind the Sun the constellation Temperance, and Temperance is the melting of the duality of the masculine and the feminine, is blending it, and so this energy is giving the light to the moon, which is of course in your sign, and the moon is your card, but you are ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is your dreams, and also that moment where you are recognizing there is a consciousness deep within you. And so Sagittarius gets ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is that grandeur, is that wisdom, is that bigness, right, that we can achieve when we really become united through the dualities, right? And so here you coming out of the water, we see the wolf and the dog, and of course the moon looking to the left, looking deep within, always recognizing there I find the strength to go out and even up into the sky. And so this combination is really interesting because this is the 12th house of self-loss, but also of the art. You have to lose yourself in the arts, right? And also, of course, the spirituality that we are facing since 2100 years. And here it's the 9th house of philosophy, and philosophy is talking about the things that don't make sense, right, in a physical level, but on a spiritual level, of course, it does make sense. And so we have a lot of interesting conversations here. The yoga position for Sagittarius is the Paschimottanasana, looking deep within and finding your own guardian angel. And meanwhile, for you, I gave you, of course, fish pose plus the up and the downward facing dog, recognizing in this triangle that you can build something, that you can overcome something, that you can, right, rowing out of the water onto land and then up into the sky, and making that evolution, right, that we are right now making. So this just to the sun and the moon. Then your court card here in the Marseille Tarot is the Cavalier de Coupé. Is your birthday between February 8th and March 11th, then is this your court card. He is walking to the left, and so you recognizing the path back to the soul, back to yourself, because we're reading to the left. We're going to the new moon that you are gonna have in your own month, right? And Virgo, of course, has then your opposite sign. It's a full moon there. So just if your birthday is before or after, you can look in the description below. I have listed all the cards that I'm using on their positions and the court cards in my description box. Back to the last reading, where you got a second time Scorpio Sun giving the Pisces Moon the light, and the message is, what if you can change your world into a better and just place? And we see that we're going to the left, right, because we have now an error here in the writing. So you always know, now I'm slowly going towards the new moon. Now I'm slowly going towards my full moon. So you have always 6 months to the full moon and 6 months to the new moon. And so the message here is quite beautiful, right? That you can change the world into a better and just place. Why not? Because you had the Queen of Swords and you had Libra, the Justice here. So there is something, that you are willing to do. And so we are looking in this month into Jupiter. The Wheel of Fortune is also connected with Jupiter, and so is, of course, Temperance, right? Sagittarius. But here it is under a zodiac sign. Here in the Wheel of Fortune, there's no zodiac sign connected with it. This is just planet Jupiter that is talking to you. And so we're going to look into the Mystical Moment Oracle, because what I like about this deck is that she paints some of the figures incredibly huge. And so it works for Jupiter, because Jupiter is about how big can I make myself. So you have Abracadabra. And you see now, this is how big the Wheel of Fortune wants you to become. The beautiful magician as a female that is pointing to the star, and the number is the 34. There is the masculine, the feminine, the Empress, and the masculine, the Emperor, uniting into the 7. The 7 is the success, is the summer, is Cancer, is the Chariot, is going out, seeing the stars at night. And so the 7 and the 10 makes a 17, and 17 is Aquarius, is the sky, recognizing how much the sky is influencing us, the planets and the constellations and everything that is surrounding us is actually playing on us. And this is why the tarot was invented, right? It's a astrological game as well, right? Some people are like, why is she bringing so much astrology into her reading? Well, because these cards are astrology bound, right? They are created so that we become aware of what's up here, of how the constellations are. And today we have the sun in the constellation Sagittarius, and the moon is at home, right, in its own sign. And so you are gonna really feel that this message here is clear, right? That you to the right go out and show how huge you truly are. And the 17 then becomes the 8. The 8 is left. The 8, that infinite spiral of constantly changing and shifting and evolving. So we begin the reading on the position of the Fool. The Fool is that foolish idea which is connected with Uranus, and Uranus is a new beginning. And here comes the 9 of Wands. And the 9 of Wands is the moon in Sagittarius, the constellation that brings you this energy, right? Doing a lot, but always focusing on this one wand. Always remember that, right? Because if you're not focusing on that one action, that one thought that comes to you, and you act upon it, then you get lost, right? And so here you are called to cut through that infinite pattern of doing and doing and doing, that you are literally saying, well, I'm gonna change something. I'm gonna make it different. And Sagittarius is inspiring me to do that. And so Sagittarius, moon in Sagittarius, is coming here directly. The blending, right? The blending of consciousness and the blending of the masculine and the feminine, and in that finding the wisdom, finding the grandeur, finding your true calling. On the position of the magician, Le Battleur, here in the Marseille Tarot, we see the arrow. And the arrow is connected with the number 3. So the arrow is pointing at the table where the magician has all its tools. And here he has also the sword or the knife lying here. And so the 3 is connected with the Empress. And the 3 is here the 30 of the Abracadabra, plus the 1 and only. Here the magician creates then a 4, right? So you had a 3, then it became a 4. The 4 is the Emperor, is Aries, and Aries is that one that is really like beginning the year, is beginning to understand how important it is to connect with the one and only. And so the 3 and the 1 becomes a 4 here. And you recognize the message because the Butler is connected with Mercury. Mercury brings the information, and in that sense, you're getting a clear information to have a look up at the higher consciousness. Now, I wanted to know what is the arrow really bringing, and here in the Mother Peace Tarot, we got the Sun of Discs, and the Sun of Disc upright, we see how he's aiming his arrow here at this point. The arrow here is pointing up. It's almost like you aiming up so that you can reach here the point, right? Or reach here the magician, the magic, the abracadabra, right? And so because it's reversed, it's almost like saying, well, you are not finding your target yet, because this is a Virgo. This is the Knight of Pentacles, right? And the Knight of Pentacles is with the finances. You aiming at something, and financially it's almost like it's not there yet because it's reversed. It's almost like you are needing to look at this situation a little clearer, right? Because when the Sun of Discs comes reverse, it says he may have given up before trying. Perhaps he doesn't know what to aim at. He doesn't have the inner confidence or trust to really focus on what he wants, and cannot use his ability to accomplish his goals. Now, upright here, it's the explanation of the card is the Sun is an elf in the woods with an English robin and a dragonfly. They focus on hitting the center of the target. So as you can see, right, focus on this one wand, on the one thought, on this one arrow, and aim at the center here, aim at your target. And for some reason, you are not ready yet. You are not trained enough in your mind to actually fulfill that, right? And so this is the 6th zodiac sign. We had a 4 and the 6 is a 10. And the 10 brought you abracadabra. So you need to learn more. You need to trust more. You need to really work on yourself more to be able to hit the target, right? And so the message is quite clear. And then on the position of the papes, la papes, comes here the 3 of Cups. And the 3 of Cups then is always connected with the constellation Mercury in Cancer. And Cancer is the success, is the 7. That is when we calculate the 34 together, right? Plus, of course, then the 10, we had the 8. But here you see that the 3 and the 2 is a 5. And the 5 is always the test, right? Here in the blending, you get a test because the 14 turns into a 5. The 5 senses, always. The 5 senses are here in this dimension. The 6th sense is then that 6th sense, where you would tap into another dimension. And so your intuition, right, the bringing together of the energy is then here celebrating, because the Lord of Abundance is then coming if you trust and if you train yourself to really focus, right? Train yourself to really trust that you can aim at the goal, that you're aiming up to the magician, that you are aiming up always at a higher power. And so even the Wheel of Fortune is bringing you now a higher power, the abracadabra, right? You can do it. It's almost saying don't give up, right? And celebrate and see always deep within the 3, the Empress. She is bringing you a clear information of you can celebrate, right? Because you're gonna be successful if you trust and if you continue what you're doing. On the position of the Empress comes the Pope. Now, the Pope is Taurus, is the institution, is the bank, is all that financial energy, but also the spiritual message, right, that comes through the 3 steps. So the 5 and the 3 creates an 8. Again, here we have the 8 as that next step from Abracadabra. We're going into the infinite spinning of the Wheel of Fortune. We're going into the hope, into the star, and then it turns into a strength. It turns into something that we can always use, whichever life we are coming into, right? The next life, whatever you have gained as a strength deep within, you can actually benefit in the next life. And so you learning here to master whatever you can master in this life, and whatever you can teach to others, right? And that's the step, because here he has the mudra, 2 fingers up, 2 fingers down, and the thumb in between. It's almost like, yes, there's always the up, there is always the down, and you have to put yourself into the center, right? That's why also there is a triangle pointing up. It's that, yes, we are going to the left, we are going back down into the new moon, right? But also you are learning to celebrate whatever you have realized in your intuition, whatever you have learned, celebrate that and be connected through that. On the position of Temperance, Sagittarius, comes the 5 of arrows, and the 5 of arrows then is of course connected with the constellation Venus in Aquarius. And so you have here the arrow, the 3. It's almost like the 3 and the 5 then also creates an 8. And so you see though that this one arrow is teaching you to not be stuck in the 5 of swords, because that's fighting with others over what, right? Because you have here now a 5-5 portal. What are you fighting about? What is it that you think you need to gain, right? Because remember, you have here also a 5, so you have actually 3 times now the 5, and the 5 senses is always that, well, overcome the 5 senses and go into the 6th sense. Learn to be a master in the 6th sense, right? Because then comes the 7th sense, right? The 7th chakra, and after the 7th is the 8th, right? The Earth star that is hovering above us. And so you need to learn to overcome the fact that Temperance is also a 5 calculated together. You have a 5-5 portal up and a 5-5 portal to the side. And so see that the teaching is always about the 3. It's always about the number 3. And so it's very clear that here this one arrow, right? The 3 is putting the dualities together, and the new one, the new arrow, is coming and guiding you up into the higher consciousness. Then on the position of the Cavalier de Coupé, you get the 6 of Swords. And the 6 of Swords is connected with the constellation Mercury in Aquarius. And so you already had Venus in Aquarius here. Now you have Mercury in Aquarius. So Aquarius is pretty much talking to you because you had the 17 here, right? The star. And she is pointing at the star. She is saying, become bigger. And so the 12, right, zodiac sign that you are, between spirituality and self-loss and art, you recognize the 12 plus the 6 is the 18, is the subconscious, is the moon. And you are the moon. That's your card. And right now the moon is in your sign. And so here the Six of Swords is saying learn. Learn, learn, learn. Learn everything you can learn, right? Start teaching as well, because that's what always Taurus brings. He's the teacher, the spiritual teacher. And teach in a very light fashion, right? Teach with a certain happiness, with a certain joy, because sometimes even though you're not focused or you're not believing in yourself, still you can do it, right? You can actually focus on that one, even though you have 8 attacking you, right? And so here the 6 is bringing you learning, more learning into your life, and recognizing that you have here 5 arrows and 6. That's the 11. And the 11 in the tree of life is always the inner teacher. Is that teaching that I have realized and I can bring it to the people. And so the 11 is speaking here mentally to you that you can do anything. The 11 plus this 1 error is 12. 12 is you. That's your zodiac sign. 12 is the Hanged Man, letting go and recognizing you are learning something powerful here. Then on the position of the moon comes the Cavalier d'Épée. And this is Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is literally saying, yes, go for it. I have that one wand. I have one wand that you're supposed to focus on. It's the one wand that breaks through the pattern. It's the 9, right? The 9 is here connected with the 9th zodiac sign. And so he is letting you know, yes, take that path deeper down to yourself and learn as much as you can learn, because you love to learn, right? You love to understand how things functions, because you are in the spiritual, you are in the arts. And so make sure that you can really learn everything there is to learn, and go out and take the inspiration of the fire, right? So now you have water and fire framing here this 6 of Swords, and you're learning everything that needs to be learned when you want to overcome this, because this is the 6th zodiac sign. So here's a 6-6 portal, right? To overcome this, you got to learn everything there is to learn through Aquarius, through the new age. Build yourself up, right? And then you can actively go out, and here the Sagittarius is taking the path with you, right? So here you walk together, right? And it's like they're friends and they walk together out into the world. And so here you are called to learn whatever there is to learn, so that you can take that path back to yourself. Now, he's the 9th zodiac sign, and the moon, the 18, is a 9 calculated together. So we get a 9-9 portal here, right? And again, recognize the 9 has also come here. And so 3 times 9, right? And you are realizing that everything has its numbers and its meaning. And so here as well. Then on the position of the moon, again as the dream oracle, comes here the wall, the obstacles, the number 56. And that's, of course, when we calculate it together, an 11. The teacher, the inner teacher, must appear by overcoming the 5 senses, by overcoming sometimes the Hierophant's mission to be a leader and to be glorious and to be like the church, right? An institution that is almighty and all powerful, but then also has its hidden agenda in there. And then you have the 6. The 6th sense is helping you then to come into your inner teacher, and you can overcome the wall or the obstacles by always focusing on the 3rd eye, on that inner eye. And so the 9 plus the 11, it's like a 9/11, right? And that's a very auspicious number or moment. And so I wanted to see what's talking here through the wall. And here came the Tower. And the Tower is the number 16. And so, of course, the 11, I do not calculate the 11 then together, but the 9 of the moon and the 16, which becomes a 7, the 9 and the 7 is again a 16, so the 7 is left. And so the Tower is literally saying, well, sometimes you gotta recognize that things go so that something new can be built, and that's the wall, right? You see the wall of the Tower, and now you have that inner wall, and that wall is an inner wall. So you gotta liberate yourself so that you can really become here this 7, right? So the 7/7 portal is speaking here. You gotta become big and huge and realize that sometimes this is blocking you, right? This is Mars. Mars is that warrior, right? That the war out there sometimes may actually make you feel defeated, right? But it's just a game. It's all just a game. And so even here, when Sagittarius is arriving, he's like looking like he's going into a war as well, right? He's just like, he's that euphoric personality that's just like, let's go and fight, right? Because he's fire and fire. So just recognize that that is here coming to you, right? The 7 is left here in the moon, in your dreams, right? When you see the wall, you know that you need to climb the wall and that you need to overcome it. Then on the position of the Sun comes the Atom. And so the 19 becomes a 10 and the 40 becomes a 50. So the 50 is again here with this 5, right? The 5 that talks to you, and this 5 that is talking to you, right? And also recognize that you always remember the 5 senses are here so that we can learn. But here you have the 4 elements, and then the 5th element is the voice. And so the 10 and the 5 is the 15, which is the devil, which is Capricorn. And in the next month, we have the Sun in Capricorn. And so the 15 is the social status that we have to not get attached to. And we build something, right? After you have liberated yourself out of the wall, you are arriving here in a clarity that you want to build new things. And I wanted to see, what is it that you're building here? And then the moon came up. Look at that. Your own major arcana came up, the moon, and you then arrive at yourself. You are yourself. You are then happy with where you're at, because the 15 here creates a 6, right? And the 18 creates a 9. The 9 and the 6 is the 15, the attachment to be the moon, the attachment to be however you are, is then bringing you to the 6. And the 6 is always recognize the awareness, recognize that the 6 is the beauty in learning how you can turn this around, right? The Virgo energy is here. You have the Knight of Pentacles, and you have, of course, the Knight of Wands. So you yourself can take that kind of action, right? You yourself can now learn that the 6 here is teaching you to finally then aim at the goal and not doubt yourself, right? Ever. And so here you are getting then the 6, right? Do not get attached to anything, because when we get attached, it's really difficult to let go of it. And so at the end, then you getting the Ace of Cups, which is connected with you, right? Because you are holding the Ace of Cups up in your hands, and you are recognizing that she is open herself up. She's almost creating a back bend into herself, into the soul. And with love, she is going, right? With love, she is reaching. So the 21, the world, plus the 1 is the 22. And the 22 is leading you back to the Fool, because the Fool is 0 and the 22nd card. So here, this 9 of Wands, right? We have the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Cups. It's the masculine and the feminine. It's exactly the blending that we have here, right? In Sagittarius, blending the masculine and the feminine cup together. And so you are seeing, focus on this one wand, right? Because this one wand is important, and you are learning that with love you can come to this place. So she is bending herself back into this card, right? It's almost like do back bends, open your heart, so that you in all of this learn to arrive, or learn to be just the way you are, and learn that everything has its power, its reason, its number, its lesson. And all we can do is just learn as much as you can learn so that you can turn here this around, right? The 6-6 portal, that you can learn that it's all about focusing, right? Where do you focus? Focus up, but also then bring it down, right? Teach it to the people. Give it to the people. Give your information to the people, right? What you have learned here. Don't fight with them, but teach them what it's all about. And so here you are, really awakening to a love that is really then a self-love. You are loving yourself and arriving. In the month of Pisces, you get your new moon, and it's slowly indicating, yes, you are getting there. You are getting more and more to your new moon, and you can then celebrate, right, sun and new moon both in your sign. So I hope I see you in the next reading. That's when we have the sun in Capricorn. We had the 15 right through Capricorn. And we are, of course, looking at that, at the attachments that are coming through some of the energies that always in the social status, right, we get attached to. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.